Hey, so welcome everyone to a very exciting evening tonight to celebrate the amazing Alex Galassi in his first book launch, The Battle for Eklatros. And what an incredible feat it is to write a book, and how exciting that we are here together tonight to celebrate Alex. So a few things before we jump in. My name is Kimberly Alexander. I am so honored to host the book launch Zoom tonight. And Alex and I go back, I think, close to a decade of knowing each other, working with each other in the entrepreneurial space. And we've worked side by side for quite some time, and still are, actually. So Alex, thank you for asking me to host such an important night for you. I'm truly honored. So our agenda for tonight is Alex is going to read from a few passages from the book, and then we're going to have a few interview questions to really go into more depths of the book and some insights around Alex's experience in writing the book. And then we are going to open up Q&A to you, the audience. You can text chat in at the bottom of your screen. You could text chat in questions that you would personally like to ask Alex as well. And Alex will ensure that he gets all of your questions answered tonight. Also, too, for those of you that don't have a book yet, we're doing a drawing tonight for a free signed copy of the book. So we'll be revealing that at the end of the night. So without further ado, I want to just first introduce Alex. Alex was born in...
Sorry.
No worries.
Alex was born in Littleton, Colorado in the early 1990s and has lived in Colorado his entire life. Lucky guy. He received his bachelor's degree at the University of Colorado in Boulder and the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. Currently, he works as the lead developer at Blue Zenith Design and Strategy, a small business started by his mother that creates websites and helps small businesses with their digital branding and marketing. When he is not working on making websites or writing fiction, he enjoys hiking and camping in Colorado's beautiful mountains and playing Dungeons and Dragons with his friends. So without further ado, let's please applaud the incredible Alex Galassi.
Woohoo!
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Kimberly. I guess it has probably been about 10 years. That's kind of crazy to think about that we've known each other for that long. But yeah, so that's I appreciate the introduction. But yeah, so I guess I can just get into it. I know a lot of you have already have it and have started reading it, all at different points, I'm sure. But I was going to start from chapter 4, somewhat a little into it, somewhat at the beginning, but just little synopsis, I guess. Oh, I guess I should probably, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but I guess I can also read this too, just in case. I'm going to read the back of the book just to get a little, foundation, and then before I start reading it. So discover Anifa's thrilling tale in the first book of the Rebalancing the Cosmos series. Eklatros is a peaceful planet untouched by war for thousands of years. Throughout the ages since the back-to-back conflicts known as the War for Equality and the Dark War, humans have become soft. Their history has become myth, and the magic that was once abundant is fading away. Now, Eklatros faces its gravest threat yet from an alien horde known as the Nusar. Cities are being ravaged while the Nusar's all-powerful leader slowly corrupts the animals and gods of Eklatros. The planet's only hope for survival rests in a mysterious elvish woman, simply known as Anifa. Without any memory of who she is or where she comes from, Anifa must journey across Eklatros to reclaim her memories while reviving and awakening the planet, aided by her newfound friends and companions, an elderly sorcerer, a drunken knight, a mysterious man at a time, and a foul-mouthed privateer, and others. Can Anifa's party come together in time to save Eklatros? So there's just, for the foundation. Okay, and then now I'll start with a little bit into chapter 4. So, and I'm reading from the other screen, so just.
Oh, gotcha. You're back and forth there.
Yeah. So as the two companions headed down into the mountains, the forest hummed with life. The songbirds were singing loudly as the squirrels, rabbits, and chipmunks chattered away happily. Even the trees seemed to purr as the wind wrestled through them. The forest seems exceptionally alive today. I think that's because of you. They could be playing off of your mood, Theodore replied. You think so? So I test my power, and Anifa stopped and turned towards a large tree that held a variety of different birds. Anifa stared at the tree for a few seconds, then cocked her head to the left and whistled softly. The chickadees immediately flew towards her. She held out her arms, and they happily landed on them and began singing. Quite impressive, Theodore said with wide eyes. He leaned on his staff and stroked his beard. You truly have a gift. Yeah, but I feel like I'm just scratching at the surface. I feel like I can do so much more, Anifa said. She dropped her arms, and the chickadees flew away, chirping wildly. It's just, I can't remember anything, Theodore. The only things I know are the things I've learned since I've awoken here. I can't remember anything. Not the names of the herbs I recognize at Sage Mason's house, not the names of the trees or the names of the clouds. I can't even remember my full name, nor my parents. I don't even know if I had a family or if I was alone. I remember nothing. Anifa's words were thick and wavering as she softly wept into her hands. And yet, there's one thing I do know, and that's why I feel so happy, even through my pain and distress. I know I'm on the right path. Anifa took a deep breath, calming her emotions. Now come, Theodore. We're not going to get very far very fast by talking to songbirds. What did you have in mind then? Theodore asked. Keep up with me, she said more sternly than she had meant to. I don't think they'll venture this far out of the mountains. We have to go closer. Anifa dashed forward as Theodore sighed audibly. A moment later, she heard his weak footsteps behind her and hurried on. She didn't want him to see her tears. She finally stopped at the point where they had run across the jackhorn. While she waited for Theodore to catch up, she held out her arms and closed her eyes. She breathed in deep, listening to the surrounding forest. The forest itself was breathing, and soon her breathing fell in step with the deep, long breaths of the forest. She remained in that state for a few minutes, her mind completely blank as she became one with the forest. Oh, my nature, Theodore exclaimed, breaking her out of her trance. Anifa took a deep breath and opened her eyes. When she looked around, she saw that her outstretched arms were filled with songbirds and squirrels. She even saw a family of unideer scamper back into the forest. What on Eklatros were you doing? Theodore asked. Anifa shrugged, scaring off the birds and rodents. Waiting for you. I just closed my eyes and started breathing with the forest. It looks to me as if you are doing more than just breathing with the forest. You are joining into its collective consciousness. That would make sense, she said slowly. I can't explain it, but that feeling that invoked, she trailed off in thought. Theodore shook his head. That's not something I can even fathom. What you did is taboo even in Agenti. No one is supposed to perform that ritual. Ritual? I was only breathing, Anifa said. Right, but as an elf, I'm sure you have innate powers that human beings can never obtain, no matter how long we study. If you spent a few days at Agenti, I'm sure you would learn even more than the headmaster knows. Anifa laughed. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the sentiment. And now that you're here, I can call upon our mounts. And yeah, that's the chapter 4 excerpt. So yeah, Anifa and Theodore had just met and pretty much just, this is one of their first times together, so their interactions and stuff. And now I was gonna do one more. And I have another one prepared if we have time later on, but I was gonna do one more and then questions and then answer audience questions if you guys have any questions that don't get answered during our regular Q&A. But yeah. So I'm gonna do this one. Sorry. So yeah, part of it is just is that right. I mean, the book is mainly Enifa's story, but there are 5 interlude chapters, 3 of which are from Navicus's perspective. And right, since we were talking about Lego earlier, this is the Lego version of Navicus that more or less started the whole thing. Just is not like a humanoid, but you know, he's a bird, like an avian thing. So yeah, so this is an excerpt from chapter 8, Interlude Spellliness Lestorenko. So, and our beautiful, amazing subject that we will operate on is a human woman by the name of Svetlana Lestorenko. But for her accident, she was a young professional accountant for a large law firm. From her file, she looked as if she was going places, but things didn't go quite her way. Approximately 2 weeks ago, she was involved in a terrible accident on her home world of Karanj. While she was waiting for the light rail on her way home from work, there was commotion behind her, and she got knocked onto the tracks right as the train was approaching. Initially, the train tore off her right arm out of the shoulder, exposing her rib cage. The initial impact also scraped off the top of her scalp, exposing her brain. Additional injuries included a crushed left leg, fractured pelvic bone, numerous broken ribs, and a plethora of other minor fractures to various bones throughout her body. The emergency medical team and the surgeons and doctors on Karanj did all they could to stabilize her. Now it is up to us to save her life. If we do not succeed today, she will soon succumb to her injuries. It really is quite amazing that she continues to cling to life. That's why I believe she'll pull through. And if she survives, she will have the honor of being the very first true cyborg in the Vortex solar system. I still cannot believe that I will be the one performing this operation, the one leading the entire operation. If any one thing goes wrong, it could lead to a complete failure. So to start, Liz, Sil, and Grasberg will lay the foundations. We are completely rebuilding her right arm and shoulder, right eye, ear, and lower left leg and foot. We will also reinforce her entire skeletal system, including major modifications to her rib cage, spine, and pelvis. At the same time, we'll add the wiring to her brain to prepare for her new eye and ear, and for the connections to her nervous system. After we have laid the foundations, Professor Krimbicon will take lead, and we will work on each appendage at a time, starting with her left leg and foot. Once the main exoskeleton has been built, we'll move onto her right arm and shoulder, then right eye, ear, and scalp. Once the exoskeleton is complete, we'll take a short 6-hour break. After a rest period, we will hopefully come back refreshed to finish every component. I will take lead again after the break. Speaking plainly, the parts I am most worried about are her eye and hand. Both are exceptionally complex. I'll go into more detail in the post-procedure recording. At that point, I'll be able to more clearly state in technical terms what we did at every step. Not to mention, Mac will record the entire process, so I'll be able to review the tapes and graphs from his monitors. However, I believe that is about all the time I can spend on this initial recording, and I need to prepare for the operation. It should take about 3 days in all. It'll be a long 3 days, though it really is such a short time for something so groundbreaking. I'm about to change the course of the entire Vortex solar system. So, with peace and love and faith, I'm Professor Navicus Klumes, signing off. So, just introducing both Enifa and Navicus. And, again, Navicus is pretty minor, just in the interludes, but still important. So, yeah.
Wonderful. I don't know about you all, but I want you to keep going.
Oh, thanks.
It is so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I can't wait to read the whole book cover to cover. So it's fantastic. Okay, so we're now gonna move over to a few questions. I'm going to ask Alex, and also too, I saw one question come in already. If you have any questions for Alex, we will get all of your questions answered tonight as well. So a few questions for you, Alex. First is, what was your inspiration around the book?
Right. So yeah, as I kind of mentioned, it does start from Lego, but most of the Lego characters are like Navicus and his crew. So like the interlude characters are mostly the Lego characters. There's only like Theodore and Cecil who are not like, they're the only Lego characters that are like from Anifa's party mainly. This is them, I guess. So but sorry, what was the question again?
What was the inspiration around the book?
Okay, yeah. So right. It all started with Nabokov and his side of things, but then I don't know, a few years ago, probably like 5 years ago, I had an idea I was trying to build like my own like RPG video game using this RPG maker thing. And that's where I started coming up with the idea for this story, but I was using a lot of elements from my other story that I just decided to just combine the two. And so that's kind of how it happened. So I had the fantasy world idea for the video game, but they just all combined into one giant thing. And now it's just, I realized it couldn't be a game because it was way too much and way too big. So I'll just write it out as a book. So that's what happened.
Love it. We'll never say never, right?
Mhm.
You never know. Love it. So the characters started with Legos and kind of grew from there.
Mhm.
As they started developing, were any of the characters based around any life experiences or people you know?
I do have a lot of characters named after family and friends and stuff. I mean, one, because I have a lot of names to come up with, and then it's also fun to like throw in their little like cameos and stuff. So yeah, I have like mostly like my friend group from college, but I do have friends from like elementary school and stuff. I know Matthew's here. Yours isn't in this book, but you'll be in another book, just saying that. But yeah, so like I definitely have characters that I kind of got the name from my friends, but they're not like based on them, but they're named after them, sort of thing.
Oh, so do we have a celebrity on the Zoom? Is one based around Matt?
Like I was saying, I mean, not in this book yet, but next one, there's one. I didn't use a lot from my like family. I mean, family I have like Denai, I have that from my uncle. I use names from like Thailand, so I have like Sathon is a city and Wathana is a mountain range, but Sathon and Wathana are like districts of Bangkok because Bangkok is so ridiculously massive. So they have like, it's like broken up into districts and stuff. So there's that.
That's really cool. Oh, that's fun to know.
Mhm.
Wonderful. So what are some key insights to consider when reading the book?
So right, yeah, it's fantasy and sci-fi. What I say, or tell myself, because I mean I'm super close to it, obviously, but it's like if anyone can get past like the interludes, because there is like such a huge jump from the main story, And I do have a character that curses quite a bit. It's actually quite toned down what it was originally. But so I say if you can get past the fact that there's cursing in it and the interludes are quite different, but it all does kind of tie together at the end, then you can definitely get into it and enjoy it, I feel like.
Right. And then how did you get the name of the book? And you already shared with us kind of how you came up with the character names, but how did you get the name of the book?
It's kind of funny because a lot of names I do remember how I come up with them. This one is kind of based off of another name that is it's also used in the book, but like the Eklatros are like on the cover, there's like the tree, but it's not a tree. It's not like an actual tree. It's called an Eklatros. So the Eklatros is like EK, starts with that. So like I took the EK and for Eklatros and came up with the rest of it. I don't know. Coming up with names is a really weird process. So, but then yeah, it's like because it's like based on the world and everyone's trying to save this one planet, but the idea is that it's like a bigger universe and more than just Eklatros. So that's kind of why I named it that, I guess.
And then how long did it take you to write the book?
I'd say about a year. I think from what I remember, I think I started writing it April of 2018 maybe and finished it 2019. All I know is that I was definitely editing it during the pandemic, but then I had an editor that held on to it for a year, so I kind of lost a year. But I think that was when it was like either 2018 or 2019 is when I started it, but it was about a year that it took to write it, I think.
We're excited it's formally out in the world. It's wonderful. So you had mentioned that this is going to be a series. So can you give us a sneak peek into, I know there was a question earlier on, have you already started your next book?
Right.
And can you give us maybe a sneak peek of what's to come with the series?
Yeah, sure. So right. I did start writing the second book a few days ago. I think it's going to be really, really hard to write, I'll be honest, because like I've tried to write that same story like many times before and it never works out. But I think this time will be better because it has a actual foundation and starting off different. So I think it will be better. But yeah, essentially like, so right, this book is based on Eklatros, but the second book will be not at all on Eklatros, but will be based on a different planet where Novicus is Meliridian. And then we won't really return to Eklatros until, I don't even know, third or fourth book, whenever that actually happens. It's going to be a little while, but it'll come back into play. But yeah, so it's going to be, the second book is going to be quite different. It's also like, I'm thinking of it more like a prison break than like an epic fantasy or anything like that. So it's going to be very different.
Wow, that's exciting. And you've already started book 2, so I'm already on pins and needles of when that next one will come out. So that's exciting. So we do have some questions from the audience. Victoria writes and asks, how long ago did you actually envision the story?
I mean, right. So like the original Lego characters, I don't even know how old I was. I'd say like 7 or 8. I don't even know that time frame. Young, I don't know. But the story, because that was this when I was young playing with Legos. So, but the story started building, I don't know, probably middle school is when I first started writing the very, very first versions, which are not even close to the same thing. Very, very different. But that's when it, I think, started developing. And a lot of the ideas and characters are the same, just the story is quite different. So
you can truly own that this is your life's work.
yeah, pretty much. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that is so exciting. And how incredible that the story and the characters just built throughout, you growing up and into adulthood, and here you are. You brought it to the world. And how cool is that? That is really neat. Donna writes, the interlude is intriguing, and I'm interested in finding out how the two stories collide. What was the inspiration for the interlude? I know you can't tell us how they combine.
Yeah, that you'll have to wait till the end. But pretty much just the fact that I kind of somewhat mentioned earlier, I was just kind of combining two separate stories to be one story. But like, it's also like events that are happening in the interludes it's like kind of the same time, whatever time means, time as what's happening here on this planet. If you've seen whatever Interstellar, you know how crazy that time works. But anyway, that's kind of the idea. So like, I kind of have a calendar where it's like this event is what's happening on Meridian, well, what's happening on Eklatros. But yeah, so essentially that's why the interludes. I also like wanted to do something different, and not many books have interludes and stuff, I feel like. So just thought it'd be fun to do something different too. So
Wow, that's very intricate writing. So
thanks.
congratulations. Interludes are not easy. So
Mhm.
that's really incredible. Victoria writes, the animals are so unique. How did you develop them?
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of it just like I really like, not just like dinosaurs and stuff, but like ancient mammals and stuff. That's why there's like the giant sloth and like the woolly rhinos. There's megacerops, which are like, I don't know, they're hard to describe, but they're like another ancient animal. There's like, and then I have like just regular animals and mythical creatures and stuff. Like the jackhorn is a jackalope. I just didn't want to use the word jackalope, so I came up with jackhorn. And then yeah, I do make up some of my own. One of them is kind of based off like chocobos from Final Fantasy, but not just a kind of like bird-like creature. But yeah, mainly just from my love of animals and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to use like ancient animals and real modern day animals along with mythical and like my own creation. So like just mixing it all up, I guess. So
Fun. Which was your favorite type of character to develop? Was it the animals or the people?
um right. So I do plan a lot, like because there's like two different writing styles. There's like the planners and people who don't plan at all, but I kind of do both. So like the animals wasn't really a plan when I started writing it. It just happened to be that way. And I just kind of ran with it and just added more along because again, I like them. But then, but it's, I guess like, so the characters were more planned out than the animals and for that aspect, I guess.
So how did you develop the main character?
She's pretty, well, the name, I guess, is pretty old. That was from another story. That's a terrible story. I was supposed to be, anyway, that won't, but the name comes from something else. But when I was coming up with the video game idea for that I was making, I don't really remember. I just thought like a blue-haired elf woman would be cool for a main character, I guess. I don't really remember, honestly, very well.
Love it. Who doesn't love a blue woman? Okay, so Todd asks, I have a two-part question. Is this a trilogy? And do you envision spin-off stories from other characters outside the main ones?
Right. So I don't actually know how many it'll be. There might be. There's definitely going to be 3, but there might be more than that. And I could do spin-off stories because that would help probably trim it down, because I do have so many characters. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. That's part of the reason why I think book 2 is going to be so hard to write, because of how many characters I have. But so spin-offs could be a good way to handle that too. That's a good idea.
Great. Love it. Matt asks, how did you keep all the world building and plot lines fluid? Do you have a big whiteboard? It is very impressive.
I don't really have like a whiteboard, but I have like this program I've been using called, I don't think I pronounce it right. I think it's Scrivener. It just like, it's like you can have like folders and stuff, like a huge folder system inside this program. So you can have like documents and stuff. So that goes back from like until like, I don't know, at least 2014, 2013 is when I started that. So I've just been using this document since then. So like 10-year-old document. That's why, I mean, I lose stuff in there all the time, but that's where everything is. If I want to find something, I can like look it up in there and reference it and stuff. So
Great. Katie asks, what can we do? What can we do to best support you in getting your work out to the world?
Oh, thanks. I mean, yeah, so like I'd say like, share it on social media and stuff. I'm gonna do a post, I think it's gonna go out in a few days, because I have all my social media posts scheduled and stuff. I don't post them. I think we're gonna do in a few days for like book selfies. If you have a book, you can do like a book selfie and post it on your story and stuff. There's also like, I don't know, just like other social media things. I don't know. I should probably think about that more, but that's the one I can think of right now.
Great. And Katie has one more question. Her husband, Henry, asked, do you have plans for this to go on to Audible?
I do think an audio version would be cool to do. That is something I do want to eventually look into, as an audiobook. Yeah.
Great. And then Todd asks, are the Lego characters you showed the ones you built originally as a young child, or was that more recent?
Oh no, yeah, they're all original from super way back when. I've just held on to them and stuff. Yeah, I mean, some of them had parts missing, like this. This is Ivy from, again, one of the interludes, but he had his arm missing for I think like a year. This was when I was, again, a kid, but then I found it. So yeah, I mean, they're all original.
That is so fun. I
Mhm.
love it. Okay, it looks like we've covered all the questions from the audience. So did you want to read one more passage?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, time. Let's get that brought up again.
He's bringing that up. If you're interested, if you haven't gotten the book already, you can go to alexgalassi.com and click on buy the book, and it will direct you straight to Amazon, where you could buy the book directly on Amazon. So alexgalassi.com.
Mhm. Yeah, I figured just an easy domain to give out. Okay, but okay, this is from chapter 10. So I jump ahead a little bit. Battle for Passage. Actually, I know my grandma really liked this part, so I figured I'd read from it. But because it is pretty intense, it's one of the, I think it's like the 4th like battle they have technically, but one of the very first ones. Are still kind of like getting used to having to fight things and stuff. All right, so Anifa motioned towards Theodore, and they silently approached Dosh and Cecil. What is it? Dosh asked, without looking away. Anifa focused her eyes and examined the path they were on. After a moment, she spotted them, 3 snow foxes. They were small and hunched low to the ground, but they were moving fast. She could immediately tell they were not normal snow foxes, but had been reanimated by the new Ellery. These 3 snow foxes moving fast, Anifa whispered to her comrades. Wait, they've stopped. I see them too now, Dosh whispered as he unslung the backpack and threw it into the grass. Yeah, it's hard to focus on them, but I saw the movement stop, Cecil whispered as he brushed his burgundy hair out of his eyes. Why do they stop? Theodore inquired. It almost looks like they're waiting for something. Keep an eye out, everyone, Anifa urged. She held her focus on the foxes while the others scanned the area. After a moment, she heard Theodore gasp in shock. The 3 snow foxes bounded swiftly towards them. The foxes are coming, quickly, Anifa yelled. The reinforcements come from above. By the gods, Anifa, look up, Theodore exclaimed, his voice steeped in terror. Anifa tore her eyes from the 3 foxes and realized they had only been a distraction from the real threat. A massive cloud of crows approached from the north. The murder looked to be nearly 500 strong. I will handle the foxes. Everyone else, please help us from being torn to shreds, Dosh commanded as he unsheathed his sword. Theodore, help me out here, Anifa cried as she unslung her bow and quickly drew and notched an arrow. With pleasure, Theodore sprang into action. Anifa shot her arrow the next moment. At the same time, Theodore shot a stream of fire into the arrowhead, infusing it with an explosive punch. The arrow flew true and hit a crow in its small, reanimated body. Upon impact, the crow exploded and took nearly 4 others down with it. We need something stronger than that. They're nearly upon us, Cecil exclaimed while waving his battle axe wildly in the air. Theodore, do that thing you did on Sartuga when you were hammered on that barley wine. I told you never to speak of that, Theodore said with a twinkle in his eye. Suddenly, one of the foxes was on top of Dosh. Anifa saw him fall to the ground, but a moment later, he had wrestled himself out from under the snow fox and sliced its belly open from its tail to its throat. Anifa watched this all unfold out of the corner of her eye as she was focusing on quickly shooting individual crows. It was inefficient, and she was running through arrows fast. It was all she could do. She didn't dare try to do what she did at Charlotte's. She couldn't allow her energy to be drained again. Sorry. Again, she had to keep her cool and finish with the help of her new friends. But the murder of crows was nearly upon them. The deep snarl of a snow fox interrupted her thoughts. Dosh cried out in pain and crumpled to the ground as both snow foxes leapt onto him. The moment he went down, an electromagnetic pulse shot out of Theodore's staff and into the air above them. The burst of electricity went off like a bomb, felling dozens of crows, but there were still hundreds left. Cecil let out a battle cry and rushed towards Dosh. A snarling snow fox turned in his direction and bounded towards him. Cecil lunged forward and swung his battle axe, catching the fox on the side of its head. Cecil slammed the fox to the ground with a loud crunch, lifted his battle axe, and buried it into the exposed stomach. Blood sprayed onto his armor as he glanced towards Dosh. The man from the past was flat on his back, holding back the final snarling fox with his sword clenched in the beast's mouth. Before Cecil could react, Dosh tore the sword out of the fox's mouth and stabbed it in the eye with the dagger. Dosh grunted as the fox clapped onto him. Help me up, Dosh asked as black blood poured onto his face. Cecil rushed over and shoved the fox off Dosh, then held out a hand to help him onto his feet. Everyone, I think we need to run for it, Anifa cried. While Dosh and Cecil had been focused on the final snow fox, Anifa and Theodore had been throwing everything they could at the oncoming murder of death. She was down to her last 12 arrows and knew she had to make every one count. And that's where I was stopping it because I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, that's the scene.
No, keep going, keep going. It's so good.
Thanks.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, if you haven't gotten your copy yet, don't forget to go to alexgalassi.com. And again, that is his landing page. You can read about Alex. You can learn more about the book, and you can click buy the book, and it will direct you straight to Amazon.
And here's this slide. Is it showing the slide?
Yeah, it sure is.
So yeah, we got
Absolutely.
the book and the kind of link, even though I know it's kind of just whatever random, but then the website link and Linktree, because Linktree has everything else. So those are the links if you want them.
Great. And then also to Alex, I texted you the winner of the signed copy of your book.
Oh yeah, cool. So that would be Jessica Seidner.
Woohoo!
Hey.
Jessica Seidner. Woo!
Yay!
Congrats, Jess.
How did I win? I was late. I shouldn't have won.
It's
You're
your
still in the
lucky
drawing.
day.
Yay, Jessica.
We'll get you connected in the library. That's what the goal is. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. That'd be
Well,
awesome.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Friends in high
Thank you.
places.
Thank you.
Friends in high places. Wonderful. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up tonight, but Alex, we are so proud and so excited for you. Is there any last words you'd love to share?
Just, thank you to everyone who made it. I really appreciate it and all the support. Yeah, I mean, I just, this has been a lot of work and it's crazy that it's finally out. And I just don't, part of me still hasn't, I think, really fully set in yet, but it's really cool. But no, yeah, thank you everyone for your support, and I know I really appreciate it. So
Wonderful. Well, we applaud you, and we can't wait to see what book 2 looks like as you continue on this incredible journey. Stemmed from childhood. What an amazing story. So, Alex, congratulations to you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And definitely let's get reading. We are so excited for you. Congratulations, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
We're so proud of
everyone.
you, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.